Ruling just came down from Judge Clark that her opponent can indeed be on the Democrat line in the upcoming election. Samantha, not happy with it. You feel that this is the rules weren't followed, and that's that, right?
Plain and simple. Good morning, guys.
Good morning. So, Judge Clark, though, she cited three other points, though. And basically didn't really even address your point. It was all about these other issues, like the Board of Elections didn't have the authority to even do it in the first place, she said.
Right, and then also, in the same breath said that if somebody from the 6th Ward that was a Democrat objected to the petitions, that, it could have been heard in court.
Almost like you lost this case based on a technicality.
Well, that's exactly what it was.
Yeah.
Friday night at 7 o'clock, I was at work, and I actually got served with papers. I was fortunate enough to find out, through an OD article that there was actually a court date set for Wednesday at 10. So I retained an attorney on Friday afternoon, and all the papers had to be in by Monday at 12. Then we find out Tuesday at about 3 o'clock that, General had submitted papers, in a memo of law that standing was one of their points. And then the next day, 10 o'clock in the morning, we had to argue the fact that, standing wasn't an issue. And unfortunately, that's what the judge held their basis on,
Okay.
that I was a Republican. If I would have known that, I the two people that submitted statements in my original objections, I would have just had them submit an objection with me. But like I said, the Board of Elections did think that it was in their authority at their time. I've submitted objections on, other party lines before that they ruled, and never came up the fact that because I was a Republican. I mean, when you read the law clearly states that anybody from any political party can submit objections.
Mm-hmm. Okay, all right.
So it was, it's a little wishy-washy, and again, I mean, you could take it to the appellate division, you could just keep going, but I mean, that's.
Do you think Judge
not
Clark's,
where we are now?
Do you think Judge Clark's decision was wishy-washy?
Well, I think that the way you interpret a law, she interpreted it one way, and somebody else interpreted another. And unfortunately, there's not much that you can do about it now. Like I said, you could take it to the appellate division. You can just keep going with this in a lawsuit. But I mean, we've got 4 weeks before a primary. Let's move forward with the election and keep the momentum going. And at the end of the day, the people are going to decide who's in office. And I can only continue to hope that I'll be able to serve them like I have the past 6 years.
So what this means is you will have him as your opponent in the Republican primary, but no matter what happens there, he's going to be on the ballot in November as a Democrat.
As a Democrat, right? Exactly, exactly. And that was my whole thing when we submitted the objections to begin with. Was you had people from the Democratic Party that didn't want to endorse him, and hence the reason why they didn't put their support behind him, and that's kind of where. The authorization came in, which it was only done by one person. At court we had 6 people that were willing to give testimony, and I think that, to not be able to listen to that, kind of really put a damper on really the total end result. I mean, at the end of the day, we know that he didn't have the authorization. I mean, there's no doubt in my mind. He said that Eddie wasn't, Councilman Machero wasn't there. Councilman Machero was there for the whole entire vote.
Right.
So I think, moving forward, I think that, the Democratic Party is obviously going to have to take a stance. They're either going to allow one person to be able to make decisions for the entire party or not, and even in the same for the Republican Party. You've got a guy that's now been cross-endorsed by a Democrat. Who is he going to represent? Is he going to represent Republicans? Is he going to represent Democrats? Is he going to represent what line is he, is he on now? So I think,
Well, in local politics, though, I mean, local politics completely really different, and I totally understand. One would hope, though, that one would hope that they will represent Uticans and not necessarily Republicans or Democrats. So, okay, all right, I get it. All right, well, listen, here we are, August 4th. It's going to move quickly. The primary is just around the corner, so you're going to be, you'll be in the midst of a primary. Coming up in just a little more than a month.
Right. Been through it before. Looking forward to it again.
Okay. Thanks so much, Samantha.
All right,
appreciate
thanks,
it.
Guys.
Samantha Colosimo-Testa, councilwoman in Utica, going to have quite a challenge. Even if she were to win in the Republican primary, what's his name there? Pelley is going to be challenging her on the Democrat line.